I'm Elizabeth Ingram, Managing Editor of the Hydro Group for Penwell, and I'm with Azeb Asnake, CEO of Ethiopian Electric Power, who has agreed to talk to us today about some of the work that's going on with hydropower in Ethiopia. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
So I understand Ethiopian Electric Power owns more than a dozen hydropower facilities.
Yes.
Why the focus on hydro specifically?
Yes, actually, to date we have about 14 hydropower plants. Some are cascaded projects on the Gibi-Omo River. We have about 4 cascaded hydropower plants. So our focus on hydro is because, first of all, Ethiopia is endowed with a lot of hydropower potential. So we have about 45,000 megawatt renewable energy, hydro power potential that can be developed. So that's why, and this hydropower resource is located in our 12 river basins. We have 12 river basins, and now we are developing only 6 of them. And their natural geographical distribution is very even. So it helps us to really, when there is drought in one area, we can use the other resource, something like that. So that's why we are more dependent on hydro. But now, when there is drought, that affects our rivers. So like before 2 years, we had this kind of drought where there was not enough flow in our rivers. So we have learned a big lesson from that. Now we are trying to mix our renewable energy sources. Now we have wind generation plants, about 350 megawatt so far. And now we are working on a solar energy and then geothermal as well, because the Great African Rift Valley passes through Ethiopia. So we have very good potential sites for geothermal generation. So we are now trying to mix our energy sources, and we always use renewable energy sources because Ethiopia follows the green resilient generation policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So I understand that you're developing the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam.
Yes.
Can you give us a little update on the status of that project?
Yeah, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam project is located on the Nile River. We call it Abai. So the construction now is close to 65%. So the progress is at a very good level at the moment because the project is very complex. About 10 million meter cube of roller compacted concrete we have to place. So you can imagine the foundation complexity, the volume of excavation that we have to do. So it's a little bit, complex project. So it takes, time than we first put as a reference only. So the progress now is close to 65%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So what other hydro projects are currently moving forward in Ethiopia?
Now we have 254 megawatt power generation, which is close to completion stage. And we have another 2,160 megawatt also. We just started the construction of that project. And we are also in procurement process for many other hydro power plants in IPP. We are inviting the private sector as well.
Okay.
So there is one on the Baro River, 1,700 megawatt capacity hydropower plant. So we do this in addition to the other renewable energy sources. We have also in the procurement process about 3 sites for solar, 100 megawatt each, geothermal about 1,000 megawatt, wind as well more than 400 megawatt, 120 megawatt is under construction at the moment, and we also use waste to energy generation. We have one 25 megawatt power plant in the capital city. We use the solid waste generated in the capital city to generate power. So we are trying to mix our renewable energy sources at the moment so that we can avoid hydro dependence.
Okay, yeah. Great. And then looking a few years down the road, you just talked about this a little bit, but what do you see as the future for hydropower specifically in Ethiopia? You'll continue to be building some good-sized projects, it sounds like.
Because, we have a very big potential in hydro, and we have developed less than 20% so far. So we have really to work on that because the demand is growing rapidly. 25 to 30% per year demand growth we registered at the moment. So in satisfying this rapidly growing energy demand, because hydro is, first of all, it's a base plant. So we really need to have those kind of plants. Whereas wind, solar, they are intermittent, as we saw during today's presentation in the morning. They are very much intermittent, meaning that we have to try to mix all these renewable energy sources in appropriate proportion. So, because our demand is very high, we still have a lot to do because the coverage at the moment is less than 60%, the access to energy. So you can imagine how much we should generate. So hydro is, first of all, they are big plants, so they will help us to satisfy this ever-increasing demand. So we try to mix all renewable type of energy sources in addition to hydro being the major part of the generation.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that update
thank you.
on electricity in Ethiopia, and thank you
Thank
for
you
joining
very
us.
much. Thank you.